What's going on, gamers? It's the Chronic Gamer here. This is my second take of this video because the last one took me like an hour to make, and that's way too long. So we're going to be trying to go at this super duper fast because there's a lot of characters we got to get through. So let's get started without further ado. This is the criteria I'm going to be judging each character on for Genshin Impact. Tier list, obviously, as you can see. Level investment needed, so how much you need to invest in order to make the character viable. Explorations and puzzles, how good they are at puzzles and exploration, self-explanatory, spiral abyss and dungeons. Usually how good they are at fighting a lot of small enemies, with the potential to take on some elite mobs, and bosses, just purely bosses, elite mobs, really big tanky boys. Alright, so Bennet, first person I'm going to start off with, and we're going to flop him right into S tier. And the reason is because, in terms of investment, he doesn't need any constellations. Constellation 0 is amazing. He's a 4 star, so you might get some constellations eventually for him, unlike 5 stars, which is going to be a common theme. Is 5 stars are automatically going to be a little bit more heavy to improve constellation wise, so you're usually going to need a little bit more investment into them. But other than that, she's a 4 star. Awesome, that's good for investment. Explorations and puzzles, he doesn't really help you, but that's not as important as spiral abyss, dungeons, and bosses. And he can be a support, he can be a DPS, so you can fit him into a comp pretty easily. He can heal, which is just awesome. With his ult, just a heal thrown in there, why not? He can increase the damage of your DPS, making him a great support, or he can increase his own damage and be a great DPS, especially with a few constellations, which he's a 4 star, so they're easier to get. Next, Noel. I'm going to plop her into A tier. And the reason I'm going to plop her into A tier is because in terms of level investment, below average, I would say you just put any defense artifacts on her that you don't want to use. Like if you get a Maiden's Beloved defense, you can put on her. But personally, what I have my Noel equipped with, I usually have her equipped with the Gladiators because I got a bunch of Gladiators and they just so happened a lot of them roll defense. And you just throw those away, but with Noel, why not just equip them on her? And when you get a better one, better defense one with better substats, just replace it. Don't use it as fodder, you know. So I have a Geo Cup on my Noel, so she does a lot of damage as well. So I got defense, and Geo damage on my cup, which turns her into a wrecking ball. So while she's healing the rest of your party, she does a shit ton of damage. So overall, really good for Spiral Abyss and Dungeons. For Exploration, her ult can be really useful to activate anything that needs Geo in quick succession too. So if it needs to be activated in quick succession, she's got you covered. Next, Diluc, S tier. He's a 5 star, so constellations are pricey. If you're free to play player, especially, don't even think about constellations. In which case, if you're a free to play player, focus on 4 stars because 4 stars are going to be better than 5 stars that you're not going to have any constellations for late game. But if you get your 5 star, you know, even if you're free to play, just use them. Why not? They're 5 stars are fun. They make up for their lack of constellations with a little bit extra base attack, so that is good. But constellations are better than the base attack, especially because you can wait for rate up banners. So if you want to use Bennet over Diluc, just wait for a Bennet rate up banner, and then you can easily invest a lot of your free Primo gems into Bennet to get him a lot of constellations, and he's going to be doing way more than your Diluc, because in 5 stars only seem to be getting rate up banners when they're first added to the game, which is and Diluc is not going to get a rate up banner anytime soon. Maybe in the future, but as it is right now, the current trend is every time there's a new banner, there's a new character. And they still haven't added Zhao. They still haven't added a bunch of these people down here. So don't hold your breath anytime soon for a 5 star rated banner. So that applies for all 5 stars, so I don't have to repeat myself. Chongyun, I think he's about A tier. Probably average on what you need to invest into him. He can flex into support really easily, because he can just give your team cryo. He can give, even if you don't really, even if your Chongyun's level 1, you can activate your E, and your level 80 Keqing or your level 80 anyone can do, your level 80 Diluc will start doing cryo damage instead of physical damage. So it's good if you have something that you need to fight with cryo, just add him. He's really important for shatter comps for Spiral Abyss and bosses. So that puts him, like, for those comps, he's a must, and those comps are really, really good. So that he's starting to get onto S tier there, but I don't think he's quite there yet. In terms of exploration and puzzles, I don't really see him doing much for you. I mean, he can just activate some cryo. He's probably about average for exploration. He's not really amazing, but he's not bad for exploration. Beidou, all right, Beidou. Let's put her into A tier. I think, yeah, A tier for sure. So Beidou, level investment needed about as much as a regular DPS. I think Beidou is a little bit more flexible as well, kind of like Chongyun. You can use her ult just to apply Electro to whatever your DPS is. So that brings down her level of investment a little bit, because if you don't make her a main DPS, you can just have a level 1 Beidou that ults and then gives your electric damage. But obviously, it's not as good as Chongyun, because Chongyun converts their damage, whereas her ult will scale off her. So you do want you still are going to want to scale her up, but she will apply Electro. So if you're just using her to apply Electro, awesome. She does that. So I would say about average. Explorations and puzzles, she reduces the cost of swimming, but I don't swim a lot, so yeah, cool. I guess she's probably S or A tier. It depends on how often you swim. I don't personally swim a bunch, so for me it's not that much. It's not that good. Spiral Abyss and Dungeons, she can be amazing with her counter. Her counter can carry, especially if she's your main DPS and you have some constellations for her. You're just waiting for the banner where she's in, and you can just buy a bunch of constellations for her. Amazing. She can be a really good carry, but I think there's just better options. So overall, I place her in A tier. Fischl, we're going to place into S tier, and the reason is because she's a 4-star, and 4 stars, just wait for her banner, and you're going to get your free Fischl from this event, from events, and we've been getting free Fischls before, so, you know. Level investment, her constellations, she's good without constellations. She's amazing with the constellations. I have a Constellation 6 Fischl, so I might be a little bit biased, but overall, she is a powerhouse. And the reason why she's so good is because she DPSs a shit ton, and all you really do is press E, and then switch to your DPS. And there goes a bunch of electricity. There goes a bunch of stacks. You can get a bunch of almost reactions. If you have Constellation 6, every time you auto with any character, the crow's also gonna shoot. Amazing Constellation 6, but you guys probably don't have Constellation 6. So overall she's really good because you can just use her, then dip and leave, and her crow's still doing a bunch of work for you. Really easy to play for that reason as well. So Spiral Abyss and Dungeons, S tier. I think whenever you need Electro, you can just place her down. She does a shit ton. Level investment, I'd say nearing average to above average, because she just her crow does so much, but it scales off attack, so you're really going to want to have a lot of attack on her so that she does a lot of damage. You're going to want you want the electro damage cup, especially because that cup does so much. And if you have stringless, oh my god, stringless is amazing on her. I wish I had stringless. I don't have stringless, but she's still amazing for me. Travelers, I'm gonna put them into B tier, not C tier. And the reason why I put them into B tier is because in level investment, you can invest. It's not that they don't need a lot of investment into being good. It's just that you get so much value out of investing into them. You're basically getting 6 or 7 characters in one. Right now there's only Geo and Anima, but in the future, we're suspecting that she's gonna get, or they're gonna get 6 to 7 characters basically in one. You're leveling up 6 characters, maybe 7 if they get Dendro as well at the same time. So feel free, just level them up anyways, even if you don't use them right now. But Anima and Geo right now, Geo's really bad for Spiral Abyss and bosses. I don't use Geo at all. You get free constellations, amazing. So it's really easy to invest into because all you're investing is levels into them, and then you just need to make sure you have good artifacts and weapons. which, you know, can be a little bit more tough, especially the artifacts. But overall, like, if you can just swap artifacts over from someone else while you use them, but because you're just getting so much value from leveling up, you're basically leveling up 6 characters, so why not level them up anyways? Have a level 80 or 90 Traveler just for when the new element comes out, and you can just play with the new characters straight away, already leveled up for you with artifacts. Explorations and puzzles. S tier. Geo's amazing for it. Animo's really good synergy for move speed, so S tier. Overall, we can't really put them in A tier yet because their Animo and Geo isn't just there yet. But I think Animo, if you don't have any Animo users, Traveler becomes A tier or even S tier in terms of Spiral Abyss, and actually probably A tier. If you don't have any other Animo, Animo is probably the best in terms of the best element for supporting your DPS, and that's because the 4-piece Viridescent set is amazing, and you're gonna want that for reducing resistance in Spiral Abyss by 40%. So if you swirl Pyro, all enemies that are swirled with Pyro are going to take 40%. They're going to lose 40% resist to Pyro, so you're just making your DPS do more damage. Animo is really useful for that reason. So if you don't have any more Animos, you don't have Sucrose, you don't want to get Sucrose, Venti's already gone, level up your Traveler, use them in Spiral Abyss for that Animo, just for the Animo. Alright. I don't think I really need to explain this, but I will. Level investment, extremely high. You are going to need 6 constellations in Amber in order for her to be because she needs to catch up to everybody. Not to say that she can't perform really well in Spiral Abyss and dungeons. It's just that you need 6 constellations, you need really good artifacts, and you need a really good weapon in order for her to catch up and be on par with everyone else. I'd say if she's fully decked out, she's as good as some other 4-stars that are C6. But you have to get her up there. She needs all that stuff to catch up. Her ults can be really useful. You get an iframe, and she applies just a bunch of pyro everywhere. And it's an AoE, so it's really good against a bunch of small enemies. Bosses less so. Her bomb's really good at destroying armor off of enemies, but she's just playing a catching up game all the way up until you hit C6. So she's just weak, below average constantly until you finally max her out, until she's finally level 90. Then she's as good as average. She's probably average by the time you get her to C6. I'd say she can compete with other C6 characters that are about average. She can compete with Traveler at C6. She can compete with a lot of other people at C6. She can compete with Kaeya. She can compete with Lisa. I think if you want to invest into her, she won't be the weakest character if you invest a lot into her by far. I think that her potential's there. I just think that it's too much effort for what you get. If she was S tier after you invested everything into her and she was dog shit before you did that, I'd say don't do that. But right now she is. You only invest a bunch into her just to make her as good as everyone else at C6. Jean, really good healer. I'm gonna put her to S tier. The reason why I'm saying that is because, 5 stars, you can't get constellations. More like open your wallet. It's just not gonna happen. You're not gonna get a rate up banner. Cry about it every day. I wouldn't even bother with constellations for 5 stars. So look at 4 stars for healing. Long term. But she's a 5-star. Explorations and puzzles. She's Animo. She can heal. Great for exploration. She can give you, if you have another Animo on your team, you can get a movement speed boost. And she can heal your team when you're low. And she does damage. She's the full package for exploration, Spiral Abyss, and dungeons. She's really good at Spiral Abyss. She can grab a lot of, like if you have Klee, she can grab Klee bombs. She can grab a lot of enemies and chuck them into the air. Really good against a bunch of tiny enemies. Less good on bosses against a really strong enemy. But she's not bad against bosses. I'd say she's about above average against just regular bosses, and she's S tier in Spiral Abyss, so overall S tier. Kaeya, I would put Kaeya at B tier, and the reason why I put him at B tier is because I think he can be really good. His cryo ult is like a discount Xiangling ult. I think Xingling's ult's better, but it applies cryo, AoE around them, so it's really good to apply a bunch of cryo to the enemy. Could be good for shatter comps. Exploration, he's pretty good. I'd say he's probably A or S tier because he can create ice bridges pretty easily. Spiral Abyss and Dungeons, that's A tier, and then probably like B tier against bosses. Overall B tier. I don't think he's anything special. I think he's okay all around. Keqing, S tier for Keqing. I love Keqing. She is a 5-star. I'm not getting any constellations for her, but I love Keqing. She does a shit ton of damage. She's really strong. She's tanky. She isn't gonna die really fast. I personally have Keqing, so maybe I'm a little biased, but I think she is on par with a lot of these people around here. And level investment needed. 5 stars, so I would say above average for constellations. Long term, a 4-star is always going to outscale her because they're going to get a lot more constellations unless you pay thousands and thousands of dollars to max her out. There's not going to be a banner for her anytime soon, so you might just never max her out ever because you're going to be unlucky. Explorations and puzzles. I actually think she's one of the better 5 stars for exploration. She can teleport very short distances, and she can enhance her auto attacks with her to do electro damage, which can be used to activate stuff. So good. I'd say she's probably S tier for exploration, especially if you need to do like parkour jumps. You can just teleport instead. Awesome. Spiral Abyss and Dungeons. She's a great DPS. She does need a lot to make her work. Her ult, you can just spam it, so it's good with dealing with a lot of small enemies, but she also really excels at doing single target damage. She gets innate crit damage. She gets innate crit chance. She innately gets 2 of the most important things. She gets crit damage and crit chance, which is just 2 of the most important stats. So she gets both of them. When she ults, after she ults, she gets crit chance increase, and she just innately, whenever you ascend her, she gets crit damage. Amazing. Klee, S tier. She does some of the best damage in the game. She's pyro. She's squishy. She is squishy. Level investment, I think you need to invest, I'd say above average to average, because constellations could be useful, and if you don't get constellation 4, then she is your DPS, and I have a lot of times where I really want to switch off of her, but I just have my ult active and it feels like I'm wasting my ult. So for that reason, I really don't like that part about her. I think she C4, you could get because she is a banner, but no. Just no. She needs a lot of investment. She does get innate pyro damage, which means you aren't as reliant on getting a pyro cup, but you're going to want that pyro damage cup anyways, because she just does so much pyro damage just constantly, because that's everything she does is pyro. So it's good that she gets that innately, and that's just going to help her whenever she ascends with that pyro damage. Bosses in Spiral Abyss, S tier. Exploration, I'd say S tier because you can run around Mondstadt and you can find where all the things are that you need to collect. Like she will reveal Lampgrass, she'll reveal a bunch of stuff on the map. There will be like a little thing icon there for you to know where to collect your stuff. Lisa, B tier. I don't play Lisa. I can't really give her a fair evaluation. I don't think I've played. I mean, she's free. I've played her. She doesn't seem too strong. I don't know. In terms of what you need to invest to her, probably average. Exploration and puzzles. She can be really useful. She's an electro catalyst. You just her auto attacks just automatically do electro. You can activate stuff with that. So pretty good for exploration. Spiral Bish. She's really good against. I think she has a lot of potential. I think that She can do a lot of damage. She can be really strong. I'm just not sure how many constellations you need in order to make her that strong, because she will stack against bosses a single target. She can stack a lot of stuff. Her ultimate's really good at dealing AoE damage. Her E is really good at doing AoD damage, so you can deal with a lot of the smaller monsters, and she just does more and more damage. She ramps up against single target bosses, so I think she's definitely has the potential to be a great DPS. But I think overall B tier. Mona, I think A or S tier, I think. Let's put her into S tier. I think it's, yeah, everyone loves Mona's one-shot ults. She ults and then you just deal a crap ton of extra damage to everything around it, so you can get those insane one-shots, 100,000 damage ult from Diluc and Mona combo with Vaporize, extreme overkill. But it's not really practical except for up against bosses. Spiral Abyss, I think it's really good. Her ult just carries her. Her ult's really good if you get some energy recharge. I do think she has an above average, or to maybe even extremely above average. Not as much as Amber in terms of what you need to invest, but you need a lot, because you're going to need energy recharge. You're going to need hydro damage or attack, depending on whether you want her to be a DPS or you want her to be a support. She's going to need a lot in order to help the rest of your team. Ningguang, let's put her at a solid A tier. I think she has an above average investment. Personally, I don't know. I haven't played Ningguang a lot, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she's S tier. I know a lot of people really, really like her, but personally for me, I think she needs a lot more investment than like most people. And I think just the amount that you need to invest towards would be like really, really, really good. Kind of bumps her down. Explorations and puzzles, she can do Geo stuff, but you have the Geo Traveler for that. Spiral Abyss and dungeons, she's really good at single target. I know that for sure, so she's really good at bosses. Spiral Abyss, she can melt as a DPS, especially after you get first constellation. So she's pretty good. Next we have Paimon, obviously S+++ tier. She is amazing. She can float. She can fly. She doesn't get tired. It seems like she can fly forever. She has no cooldown on her fly ability. She has no cooldown on her teleport ability. Trust me, I've tried. Every time I enter a dialogue, she teleports in. Every time I open up the menu, she teleports into the world and flies and opens up the menu for me. And she seems as if she can break the fourth wall as well by opening up the menu for us. So that tells us that she is actually a higher dimensional being, meaning that everyone else must bow down before her, as she contains unlimited knowledge and unlimited power that has yet to be discovered by the rest of the characters. So clearly she's the final boss of Genshin Impact, and has infinite power, and thus goes into emergency ration, as if you eat her, you gain her infinite energy that's coming from a different dimension, and you ascend to becoming a fifth dimensional being, and therefore become an emergency ration tier yourself. So next we have Qiqi, S tier healer. I think once again 5 stars, so constellations are going to be a little bit tougher to get, but if you get some, awesome. If you don't, you don't. Some of her earlier constellations are actually pretty strong, so I think that's really awesome. So if you just get Constellation 1, awesome, amazing, but she is a 5-star. She can do a lot of DPS. I think for the same reason why I think Noel is really strong is the same reason why I think Qiqi's strong, except I think she needs a little bit less investment, because I think Con 0 5-stars are easier to get than Con 4 or Con 6 4 stars. So at Con 0 she does more damage than Con, let's just say 3 or 4 Noel. So for that reason I think she does a lot more damage, and she still heals your team, and she's cryo, and she's just amazing. Her investment, I'd say it's pretty good. Exploration and puzzles, she's good. She can create ice bridges to go across water. Spiral Abyss and dungeons, amazing combat. Next character, Razor. I think I'm gonna put Razor in A tier. I think Razor can be on par with some of these S tiers after some constellations, and that's the problem, is constellations. I think he has an above average level of investment. I think you need to get a few constellations. So for the same, I'd put him kind of on par with Beidou. For the same reason Beidou is down here, Razor's gonna be down here. He needs a little bit more investment. He is a really good physical damage carry. So if you do need a physical damage character, he's unique in that sense. Physical damage carries have no weaknesses, but at the same time they can't really deal with elemental shields too well. So there's that. Exploration and puzzles, S tier. S tier for exploration and puzzles. In fact, almost on par with Paimon for exploration as you get stamina reduction. But as we just said, stamina reduction is close. But if you got infinite sprint, then he'd be on par with Paimon, because Paimon has infinite flight. So he's not quite there, but he's probably the best for exploration in my opinion, just because of that sprint stamina reduction. You're just sprinting everywhere. Spiral Abyss and dungeons, I think his sprint, although it's really good for exploration, is also really good for Spiral Abyss. You get extra stamina to kind of dodge around and do stuff. For bosses, he can do a lot of damage, but I just think that he just needs that little extra oomph from his constellations to get up there. So I want to put him S tier, but I'm going to put him A tier. Sucrose. I think Sucrose is safely into A tier. I think Sucrose needs probably at least Constellation 1 to get that second charge off your E. But it's a 4-star, so it's possible. Or just wait for a banner. The banner's out right now. You might not get it later. But banner's awesome, cool. S tier, A tier, I mean. Level investment. She's a support. I think she's better than the Traveler for Animo supports. And she's a 4-star Animo. So I think a lot of people, you should be using her if you don't have an Animo. If she's the only Animo you have a constellation. If you have 2 or 3 constellations on her, use her, because Animos are just so strong. If you don't have any 5-star, if you have like Jean or something, you don't have to. But use her, because she's, especially if you have Venti as well. But use her. She's really good Animo. A tier. Let's do Venti. S tier. There's not much I need to say about. I have Constellation 1. Constellation 1 Venti. I hate Constellation 1. Constellation 1 feels like just a waste of a 5-star Constellation 1. You get extra charge attacks. He's a good support. You don't really need a charge attack with him. I really don't like his Constellation 1, so that feels really bad. But that's just me crying. In terms of investment, you just want the Animo stuff. Energy recharge, Animo damage, attack. I think the Fort Peace Viridescent is just a must for any Animo user. So I put him at about above average, because Constellation's going to be a pain to get. But overall, S tier, he's the best. I'd say, in terms of Spiral Abyss, he's almost on par with Paimon. Because although Paimon has infinite energy and infinite flight, and she can't take any damage, Venti imitates the ability of infinite flight for your enemies by hanging them in the air so they can't deal damage to you. But it requires him to have energy. He doesn't have infinite energy, unlike Paimon, so takes a little beating there. Barbara, A tier. Looks like A tier is actually the average tier. I thought it was above average, but no, it's average, and B is below average at this point, because I seem to be putting most people at A and S tier. But I just think that all the characters are just really good in their own way. I think even the Traveler and like Lisa could be up here, but like I can't get too ahead of myself. I think she is really strong for healing, but if you have a cryo user, she becomes trash tier, unusable if you're up against a cryo. She actually hinders you more than she helps you. She would be S tier if she didn't apply Hydro to you, but she applies Hydro to yourself, so you get frozen a ton, and that just hinders you a lot. So if you're up against cryo, she can actually be really bad. But I think she is really strong, especially with like Thrills of the the Thrilling Tales of the Dragon Slayer. Really powerful. You don't need to invest a lot into her. In fact, when it comes to how much you invest in her, I put her at S tier, because you can just take all your HP artifacts and put it onto her, because she scales off HP. And most people don't really scale off HP, so it's just really easy to find artifacts to give her. You can just use whatever ones you were going to use as fodder and give them to her because they have HP. Xingling. I think A tier. I don't think she's quite S tier. I think she needs a little bit of work. I think her ult can be really strong. Her pyro resist can be really strong. But I think you need a few too many constellations on her. You need constellation 1 to get that pyro resist in order to make her great support. Extra pyro damage. The chili pepper is awesome. It drops the chili pepper, I think, when you have to ascend her to level 70. But I think she just requires a little bit too much. In order to get her to S tier, I think you need like at least Constellation 4, because then she just becomes super awesome because her ult is going to help your Diluc or your Klee. And she could be just really, really carry. She can carry your team, like she can carry your pyro teams after you get to Con 4. But before Con 4, she doesn't carry anyone. She's just kind of above average. No, she's just kind of average. She's kind of average before that. Xiao, trash tier. He's not like he's not at all like Paimon. He doesn't have infinite energy. In fact, he doesn't even exist. So he's trashed here because he doesn't exist. I honestly, I can't review him. I mean, my impression is he's gonna be A tier. I don't think he's gonna be S tier like a bunch of all the. I think he's gonna be a weaker 5-star. I do like to put 5 stars up here. I think Jean's actually probably weaker in terms of 5-star potential, but because she's animal, she goes up there. I think that in terms of 5 stars that are weaker, I think he's probably gonna be about there, but I can't review him. Let's just go ahead and put these people in the trash tier. Trash tier, they don't even exist yet. They can't do any damage. However, the plus side of Xiao is he can't take any damage, but he can't do any damage, so you're just gonna be bored. So let's just put everyone in there. I have no idea who that is. There we go. Trash tier. You guys don't exist yet, so you guys suck because you can't do any damage until you're in the game. Xiao S tier. Easily S tier. He ults. I think he has a slightly above average investment cost. I think you need to invest a lot more into him. You need the energy recharge. You need the hydro damage cup. You want the attack damage artifact. But I think once you ascend him to 70, he starts to really pop off. If you have sacrificial sword, actually, I think he might even be extreme. I think he may be on the level with. He's not quite Amber's level, but he's actually near the amount that you need to invest into Amber, except the difference is when you do, he becomes one of the best characters in the game. Unlike Amber, who just kind of catches up to everyone and becomes average after you invest almost a bunch into her, I think Xiao becomes one of the best characters in the game. Better than Mona, better than Jean, better than Qiqi, better than Diluc even. Honestly, he becomes one of the best characters in the game by far. His support's really good. It's for the same reason why Fischl's really good, Xiao's really good. You can Q, swap to your other character. He gives you damage mitigation. He gives you healing. He gives you damage while switching as a support. It's kind of like his own turret. His ult is kind of like a turret. But he really relies heavily on sacrificial sword. So if you don't have sacrificial sword, your Xiao is just he's not going to be up there. But if you break into that threshold where you have energy recharge, you have sacrificial sword, you have hydro damage, you have energy recharge, you have attack, he is going to carry your team. He is going to be the best single target character for Spiral Abyss. My Xiao crushes. My Xiao is one of the strongest characters on my team, and I haven't even he's only level 60, so really, really strong. Childe, S tier. I think I haven't played him that much, except for the main quest and the trial. I think I don't know. I don't know if I like him. I don't know if I like him. I like Jean just because she's a healer, but Qiqi's a better healer. I might have to start moving some people to make room to just kind of make sense of this list. Mona, I don't think is as good. Yeah, I think this is a little bit more like it. Okay. This is gonna be A is gonna be average now. I think that Jean's just a really good healer, but Qiqi's a better healer. Mona's a really good support, but she excels at single target, whereas like Xiao is just a better support. Xiao's ult just does so much more single target, and I don't know. I think Xiao's just better. He's easier to invest in. Mona requires more. I think Xiao is just takes the cake for water supports. Spiral Abyss Dungeons, Xiao's amazing. He has some of the best single target damage in the game. He doesn't need to be on the field to do anything. He's basically Hydro Fischl. You ult, and then you leave, and you do damage. Just by ulting and then using a different character. So he doesn't even have to be on the field to do damage, and he does a lot of it. He does even more than Fischl a lot of the times. But I'd say you need to invest more into him. Honestly, maybe even the best character in the game below Paimon, you know? Diona, average, I think. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about Diona. I haven't really played her that much. I didn't like her. She's a healer. Qiqi's a better crowd healer. She's a healer. I don't have too much to say about Diona. I can't really give her a fair evaluation. I don't think she excels in anything. Personally, I don't like her. I don't think she's strong. I think her shield's cool and all. I think her heal's cool and all, but I don't think she does enough. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I see a lot of people enjoying her, but I just can't see her being that good. I don't know why. I don't know if I'm just really bad at playing her when I tried her out. I don't own her, so maybe that's the problem. Maybe I haven't played her enough. I think she's just a healer, and healers you need a healer, right? She's not the best healer. I'd say I prefer Jean. I prefer Noel. I prefer Barbara if we're not up against Kaeya. I think she's probably close to Barbara's level, but that's just me being generous because I don't play her at all. Anyways, this is the final standings. We got Paimon as the almighty and powerful fifth dimensional being god. We got our S tiers, we got our average tier, we got our below average, and we got our amber tier. C for amber. She's on her own tier. Come on. Don't even. I mean, amber tier is just basically saying B tier, except she doesn't start off B tier. She starts off way below average, and then she just plays catch up the whole time to all the other characters. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you liked. Make sure to leave a comment on this video if you have any recommendations. What do you think about the tier list? What do you agree, disagree with? I think that there are definitely some people that can be moved up and down, but I don't know. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Chronic Gamer out.